Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Clemson was better than us. They were better than us today. Played better and they coached better. And we got beat. Simple as that.
Proud of our team. I'm proud for our team and our fans. Good to be state champs again.
Yeah, I knew I was going to feel some pain, and, I wasn't 100%, but, I just came out and, tried to loosen it up a little bit.
It's my pleasure and honor today to introduce to you and to welcome home to Texas the next head football coach at SMU, Chad Morris. Coach.
Well, it's been a wild and woolly 24, 36, 48 hours ever since we left you here on Friday night, made it through the weekend and then through today. A lot of stuff has transpired, but I don't want to take away from the fact that Clemson won the football game. And Tiger fans, you have your chance tonight to roar loudly on our phone lines across the state. I know there's a lot of side stories going on. Deshaun Watson, should he have played with the knee? Should he have sat? Chad Morris now at SMU. What's happening at South Carolina? Steve Spurrier telling Josh Kendall today of the state that he is coming back for at least 2, maybe 3 more years. What does that mean about Will Muschamp and the possibility that he'll end up at South Carolina? Who replaces Chad Morris at Clemson? What does Jeff Scott do? Does he get promoted or does he go to SMU? We have a lot of stories going on out there. I don't want to take away tonight from Clemson and Clemson fans and the chance to talk about a great win. 800-956-7266. Plenty of time to talk about the other stuff. Your chance to share your thoughts about what happened on the gridiron. 800-956-7266. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth, Professor Tom Hayes, Kevin McCrary. I know we've got basketball coming up on some of our stations as we move through the program tonight. If you want to stay with us, you can always stay with us if you lose us through the air via your smartphone or your laptop or your iPad, our website audio stream at sportstalksc.com, and the video stream at the bottom of the page as well. You can keep up with us that way should you lose us over the airwaves. Guys, your thoughts?
First of all, I think probably Clemson proved what we've known for the past 7 or 8 years in this series, and that is the team with the best defensive line wins the football game. And Clemson had the dominant defensive line. People will see that Clemson had 35 points, yes, but they had a lot of possessions because that defensive line put a stop to South Carolina's offense.
Hey, Mac?
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson, we can talk about should he have played, should he not have played. He did play, and he went out there and dropped 4 touchdowns with a torn ACL on the Gamecocks. That will go down as one of those all-time performances in the rivalry that you'll remember. The Palmetto Bowl, he's put himself in the all-time great moments of the Palmetto Bowl, and he will never have to buy another meal in the upstate of South Carolina for the rest of his life after that performance there for Clemson. Just incredible what number 4 did.
Not that he's been paying for any of them up to this point anyway. You know what I mean. All right, 800-956-7266. That's our phone number. Let's talk about the game. We'll be back in a moment.
duct tape and baling wire, keeping him out there, keeping him going. And our training staff did an outstanding job. Danny Poole and those guys keeping him, getting him back. And he was playing hurt, but, again, just a tough performance, not just by him, but all those guys. A lot of credit to our offensive line. I thought they played extremely well tonight, limiting the number of times he got hit. And what a great performance for a true freshman to come out in a game of this magnitude. There's no doubt about that.
SMU head coach Chad Morris, former Clemson offensive coordinator. At the time he made those comments after the game, he was still Clemson's offensive coordinator, but now he is SMU's head coach, being introduced today in Dallas. We'll let you hear later on some of what he had to say at his introductory news conference. But right now, to your phone calls. We'll touch on some of the other stories of the day, give you details of what Josh Kendall wrote about Steve Spurrier, and Spurrier telling him he plans to be back at USC for 2 or at least 3 more years. And in a couple of years, he'll readdress it at that point in time and probably say if he's going to come back for another 2 or 3 more years. We go to Tiger Bryan in Lancaster to kick things off tonight. Hello, Tiger Bryan. How are you?
Pretty good, Phil. Man, I'm doing great, man. I tell you what, y'all still do a good job. And I called it the other week, didn't I? I told you the defense, Clemson's defense is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure about Watson playing or as good as he did, he hurt as he is. But you know what? I met a dang amazing man today. Buddy of mine, I work school district down here, Buford High School. You know who showed up down there? Coach Robbie Caldwell, Clemson offensive line coach. His first cousin's the principal there. He was talking to the coaches and the kids. They've been family union there. Sherrall and Paisley area is where he's from. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's a great man. He said Tigers is on the way up. He said he bragged. I asked him about Watson. I said, should we have played him? He said, Bo, he said he outplayed our defense all week practice. He said we had to play him. He's got heart. He's not as bad as people think it is. He's got to have surgery. But I don't understand why people say why not play him. If they want to play and the family and the doctors say they can play, if they able to practice, they'll be able to play. Y'all agree with that?
Well, there's been a lot of opinions offered up about that. I guess the most notable was by Emmitt Smith, who on Twitter yesterday, blasted Clemson for letting the young man play. And Dabo's explanation after the game was that the doctor said he could not hurt it any further. They had it braced up extremely tight, and there was just no way he could do any more damage. And he also said he'd get him ready to play in the bowl game. And you also said what Coach Caldwell said, that Watson was feeling no pain and practiced extremely well, and he wanted to play. However, K-Mac, you've run across some documentation about guys playing with torn ACLs that, as far as your future is concerned, it doesn't bode well for them.
Yeah, it's not unprecedented for guys to play with a torn ACL. It can happen, and that part of it is true, and you can brace it up and play. Now, the part that is disputable from other doctors, and I'm not a doctor, and I'm with the caller. It's the player, the medical staff, the player's family. They have to make those. What Emmitt Smith said is, well, what about when this kid has bone on bone when he's an adult, when he's 45, 50, where's the university going to be then? That was his point.
Yeah.
But Arthur Bartolozzi, who's an MD writing for Philly.com, said that there are risks of playing with an ACL injury. He said even with the brace, there is an issue with it. Braces simply do not work in preventing injury to other knee structures after ACL injuries, and this has been proven with a multitude of studies. The risk of playing with an ACL injured knee is severe and permanent damage to the remaining meniscus cartilage and joint surface cartilage. We can fix the ACL, but we don't do a good job fixing the joint surface cartilage. Injury to this cartilage means easy and progressive arthritis. Now, that's from a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another story about an offensive lineman with the Patriots, Logan Mankins, who played for an entire season with a torn ACL. He didn't know it. Mm-hmm. He didn't get an MRI. He knew it was goofy. He said it didn't feel right, but he could still run. So he played a whole season. And another doctor said, you know what? You can play. If you have a strong leg, you can go out there and play. But he did say, and this was another orthopedic surgeon, he said, you do risk further injury. So that's two different doctors saying that there is risk involved. And look, he had an LCL strain and that turned into an ACL tear. The bottom line is if your knee structure is unstable, bad things can happen. But all that being said, Watson went out there and had a gutsy performance. Guys play hurt all the time, whether it's bruised ribs and that things that could get worse potentially if you play. It goes back to the decision of the young man. It worked out fine for him. I was a little surprised to hear that he's going to play in the bowl game. Honestly, just me. You played the one big game. You knew you needed him. Get somebody else ready for the bowl game. But their staff is competent and comfortable playing him. So that's them.
All right, back to the calls, 800-956-7266. Robert in Columbia listening to us on The Point. Good to have you with us in Columbia. How are you?
How doing tonight?
Good, man, good.
All right, well, the one reason I heard Deshaun Watson started the other day is because that somebody told him that Marcus Lattimore is going to be watching. He wanted to get out there and show him how it was done.
Well,
yeah. You know what I mean? And, I was there at the game the other day. There wasn't a whole lot of USC fans. The ones that did get there early, they just did like they typically do, stick their diploma up there on the dashboard and pull up into the handicap spot. But, this is just one thing. Boy playing on tore ACL. I tore my ACL about 3 years ago, and they can stop me from having sex with my neighbor's wife every day. So,
well, that's what crutches can do for you, too,
This is going
if you don't have to walk too far. All right, thank you so much for the comedy act
and
your thoughts.
Didn't help him from bending the elbow either.
Back to the phones. We go to Eric in Oler. Hi, Eric. Welcome into Sports Talk.
How you doing, Phil and K-Mac and Professor?
All good.
I know I'm here from other Gamecock fans, but I think that Steve Spurrier might be done by burnout. And let me tell you why I say that. Because he in that game he didn't use his timeouts like he should have. I know that had nothing to do with the loss really, but you should at least try to use your timeouts. From my opinion, you could hear the spectators saying or whatever, the guys on TV saying, "Why ain't he using none of his timeouts?" And I think maybe that's when we was down like 10 or something like that. But in my opinion, I think he's just burnt out with it and he needs to give it up.
Yeah, end of the first half when they got the interception. First of all, Chad Morris, I don't know why they called the pass play for Cole Stout, and that could have really been a momentum changer, but the defense held. I was surprised the Gamecocks didn't use at least one of their timeouts before. They lost 19 seconds before they had the play that they almost scored a touchdown on, but the pressure that Clemson had prevented the pass completion to Davis. Left in 2 timeouts. They kicked the field goal. I think that was because Steve Spurrier did not trust his offensive line and Dylan Thompson to make a good decision there. And they didn't want to lose 5, 6, 7, 8 yards and make a long field goal attempt, an impossible attempt. They wanted to make sure they got points.
All right, 800-956-7266. Jim up in Rock Hill. Good evening. Welcome into Sports Talk.
Fellas, this game to me so much of the 2009 game. If you remember, that game was played in Columbia, and C.J. Spiller ran the opening kickoff back for a touchdown, and Carolina, of course, this past Saturday they scored the first. They scored first and all, and then the superior team took over from a fundamental standpoint and just basically controlled the line of scrimmage from that point on in both of those games. So I couldn't help but think about that. There was so much similarity there between those two games.
I think you're right. I had those similar thoughts as well. The other key point is there's a little bit of difference between coaching and gamesmanship. I thought South Carolina didn't show good gamesmanship in the 2 points here. You kind of figure no matter what condition Watson's knee is, he's not going to be running too much. So I don't know why you continue not to decipher where that sprint draw was coming from and just weigh your defense over that side of the field and make them either go to the other side of the field or make Watson run to see how much he could test.
They've been running that. I call it it's a pass play because they flip it forward.
Right. They ran it against Wake Forest. Why not more the Wildcat? You knew Clemson's defense wanted to rush the passer. Don't give them the opportunity. Keep showing them the Wildcat. Frustrate them.
Don't think Pharaoh Cooper touched the ball much after he had that touchdown run. Be right back.
Well, again, you never want to give up big plays, and we felt like they would attack us on the perimeter. We talked about it all week, and you definitely wouldn't think the little speed sweep pitch would have as much success as it did, but it did, and we didn't do a good job getting them on the ground. We missed some tackles early, and that's something that we was getting bad at, and I thought we was better at tackling in the second half, but we didn't tackle very well the first half.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk, 800-956-7266. Quick notes pass along to you. Stanton Seckinger, Clemson tight end, will miss the bowl game because of the knee injury that he suffered against South Carolina. That knee injury will require surgery. Steve Spurrier told Josh Kendall at the State today, quote, I'm in. Lucky for him, he didn't say he's all in. He said that, quote, we had some down times and some of this, that, and the other, but we've got a lot of good players on the way, as he confirmed he'll return for season number 11 at USC. He says, I'm good to go. This is a good situation. I just made about 21 recruiting calls. I think we can turn around quickly. I hope so. Give me 2 or 3 more. I used to say 4 or 5. Now I'm down to 2 or 3. I mean, I could get in a car wreck. I'm definitely planning on being back. All the coaches are out recruiting. All the coaches are under contract. Some of them may get a job somewhere else. You never know, and we'll go from there. We are probably pretty flexible right now and a little bit on the staff, but I believe that almost all of our guys will be back. He also said in his comments that at one point he was thinking about not coming back. There was some doubt in his mind at some point during the season that he might not return for another year, but all that's behind him now. And his mood in this, after this loss compared to the Tennessee loss was totally different. I think after the Tennessee loss, he might've been thinking about putting his career on hold or stepping down or whatever. After the Clemson loss, he accepted it humbly. He paid homage to Clemson. And seemed not as beat down as he was after the Tennessee game. So maybe by this past Saturday, he'd come to terms with what his plan was going to be.
He might have had indigestion during the Tennessee game. But, the key point is I told people it's better, you would think when he lost the game, tells me he's coming back. If he was undefeated, now if you tell me, is he coming back? I said, I don't think so. So I think you're just like an old card player. If you lose a hand, deal, please. Deal.
All right, let's squeeze in one more before the break. Jake in Spartanburg, welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, guys, I'm a Gamecock fan, and I congratulate Clemson. They had the better team. But there's some things that I don't understand. We had our defensive ends that slanted in on every sweep that Clemson ran. And then Watson got credit for passing yardage. I know Pete Yan in Spartanburg News that Watson had 200-something yards passing. Well, all he did was basically just flip the ball.
Pass.
He didn't really do anything much. I give him credit for really firing up the Clemson team. I think he did. But I don't understand how a defensive end, 2 defensive ends, 4 of them really.
All right, we got to hit our break here. If you want to hang on, we'll come back to you in just a moment. But those are very good observations.
we made it clear all week that we wanted to be in good down and distance, and that's how you beat teams with a great line. Like they did a good job of keeping us out of good down and distance, and that's how you win defensively, and that's what they did, and just didn't make enough plays to win the game. I really thought our defense they didn't play bad. We just couldn't get anything going, and they had a great game defensively. Their guys played hard, and they won.
All right, Dylan. After the game, of course, he becomes South Carolina's single-season passing leader with his performance on Saturday. Little consolation to him. He was 21 of 39 for 249 yards, but he was sacked 4 times. The Tigers had 8 or 9 more pressures on him, 13 tackles for loss. Meantime, you compare it to South Carolina. The Gamecocks had 0 sacks. They had 0 quarterback pressures. They had 3 tackles for loss. Totally dominated on the line of scrimmage. And that's a big reason why Clemson won the game. Back to Jake, who we interrupted at the bottom of the hour as we get back to your phone calls. All right, Jake, back on the air.
Okay, I had mentioned earlier about their defensive ends making the slant inside and letting Smith and the other runners get outside. And Phil, I guarantee you and I could have run in there and made those guys turn that ball up, and at least you'd have some
let's not get crazy.
help. No, I'm serious. And the last 8 minutes of the ball game, guys, you answer this question. We been the Gamecocks, acted like we were ahead in the game. We took forever to get a playoff. And there's been speculation on the internet. Everything's on the internet. I understand that.
Sure.
That somebody else was calling the plays other than Spurrier. So, I mean, if that's fact, maybe you guys can shed some light on it. But Clemson was a better team. We've been a terrible team on defense the whole year. And I'll let it go at that. Thank you.
Well, your comment about the defensive ends, I think, is appropriate because Clemson kept getting the edge. I think they were angling in, and Lorenzo Ward said after the game that they didn't play that properly. He should have made some adjustments, and they really didn't make the proper adjustments to that shovel pass with Artavis Scott getting on the outside and turning on the afterburners and chewing the Gamecocks up. As far as the play calling, you hear things. There's a dozen things I could throw out there that I've heard today that I don't know what's accurate and what's not.
But
I don't care to.
He did say, though, Corn, I mean, I listened to it Saturday in Spurrier when they were talking about Farrell Cooper, and he said, I kept saying we need to remember to get him the ball.
Spurrier made some comments that maybe somebody else was calling the plays.
That's your job. Yeah, there's some
I apologize because it didn't dawn on me at the time of the post-game press conference to ask him the question. I just, I wasn't that clued into exactly what he was saying. But he dropped some hints in his comments. You're exactly right. When he talked about, how did he put it? I should have told some people.
He said, I kept saying we need to remember to get Cooper the ball.
Yeah.
That was what and my thought when I heard that Saturday. And I wasn't in the I was listening. I was upstairs in the press box on the website, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's you, isn't it? And a couple of people have told me that Steve Spurrier Jr. has handled the bulk of the play calling duties, not just the Clemson game, but the past few games, going back to the Florida game, that he was calling a lot of those
I can't
plays.
believe now. I mean, that may or may not be true. I can't believe that Steve Spurrier did not call plays in the Clemson game.
Well, the key point.
But that comment certainly makes it sound that way. But I can't believe. I'll be flabbergasted if that's true. Why would he not call the plays in the Clemson game?
Well, he's done this before where he's kind of passed off some of those, and he says he signs off on them. And I think he offers input when he sees something. Here you go. But maybe he just feels like at this stage he trusts Junior to call him from up top.
Well, let's face it. Here's the key point. When you look at it, and we've set up in the press box, and we know the loud voice of Steve Jr. When the defense lines up and shifts, Steve Spurrier likes to wait to the last minute to change the play call, depending on the shift. So you'll hear Steve, where so-and-so is, the shift, and then the subsequent change of the play call comes. Now, the caller is asking about the delay of play calling. I think that catches South Carolina, especially on the road in front of a loud crowd, when you're trying to change a call at the last minute and the clock is ticking down and you got a loud crowd and you got a quarterback who has to run to the lineman and yell what the play is. And I think that cost them a lot in a lot of games, not just the Clemson.
All right, back to the phones, 800-956-7266. Alan in North Augusta. Now, we haven't heard from Ronnie yet, Alan. I don't know if you maybe drove by his property to check and see if, everything's okay over there. But anyway, it's your floor.
Who? Ronnie? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
No, that game, I'd rather hang ACC championship banners. I've said this in the past,
Mhm.
but it's nice to win. I mean, five years old.
Oh, so you'd rather have an ACC
just
championship
another
banner
win
than a win
over
over
in-state
USC?
rival.
I got the mic here. Let me have the dang floor.
I'm giving it to you.
You got it.
That's K-Mac being rude.
K-Mac's hollering something back there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Stop
Kevin,
crying.
you finished?
Go.
Anyway.
Go.
We're talking about ACL injuries. I think Sean Elliott had an ACL injury when he was 14 years old. Never had it surgically repaired and play. He had a pretty good career. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but
Sean Elliott,
interesting.
Sean Elliott, the
Spurs, yeah,
the basketball player.
Yeah.
Not Sean Elliott, the USC offensive line coach.
No. Just check it out and see what y'all think about it.
Listen, I firmly believe, and I've heard all the stuff today, and all due respect to Emmitt Smith, who certainly would know more than me, but I certainly believe that no one at Clemson would risk injury to this player without full consent, without fully knowing that the doctors had thoroughly examined it and the training staff had thoroughly examined it and signed off on it and said he'll be fine. There's no way that he could further do damage to the knee in this particular game. He's free to play if he can tolerate whatever discomfort there was. And really, it wasn't the knee that caused him to come out, but the brace. Yeah, the brace was numbing his calf muscle because it was on so tight. That's why he came out and he had to have it adjusted.
I think what needs to be acknowledged, though, is that there is risk to further injure your knee when you play on it like that. Now, we can argue whether it's worth the risk and the risk is small enough, but to act like it can't get worse playing on it in the bowl game and practicing on it.
That's what
just,
they said. I mean,
that's
are you
questioning
there are the doctors?
Are you questioning? I have other doctors that are. I mean, now granted,
you can get doctors to say certain things.
How many orthopedic surgeons do you think would tell
Dabo
a guy?
Sweeney is not going to endanger the career of a
I think that you have a
true
risk
freshman who has a
reward, and they
chance to
say,
be a
look,
star for 3 more years.
we can keep it. There.
2 more years.
Yeah, 2 more years. He's going to be.
I don't know. He might be. Taj Boyd stayed for 4 years.
They said it couldn't get worse with the LCL, didn't they? And then he had a setback and tore the ACL when he went back into practice. So if your ligaments are loose, every piece of medical opinion that I've read is you are at further risk for injury. Now, that doesn't mean that guys in the past haven't played on them. We've documented that's happened. I'm not saying Dabo made a reckless decision, the Clemson coaching staff, but the bottom line is you are at a greater risk. Deshaun Watson is at a greater risk for a further, more serious knee injury playing with a torn ACL than somebody that's playing with the healthy one. That, to me, based on everything that I've looked up, is a fact.
My only question is hypothetical. If I got 5 wins in my pocket, do I risk the quarterback?
Well, if you're playing a good defense.
Well, I think Clemson also went into this game. My assessment is that they realized they couldn't win with Cole Stout at quarterback. I just think Cole's confidence is just shot, and I think they thought the only way they could win was with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, and they did an excellent job of disguising it all the way through. Chad Morris didn't say it in the post game. Deshaun Watson didn't say it in the post game. If Dabo Sweeney hadn't have brought it up in the post game on his own and just kept it to himself, we wouldn't.
That's the other thing. Why reveal that? Yeah, I mean, it was
because I think it makes a performance more heroic.
Well,
and you know how Dabo is blowing things up.
Yeah, I mean,
it
would have been heroic anyway.
He had an opportunity here to make Deshaun Watson look bigger than life, and he did.
Well, he is.
game up front. Man, everybody's up there making plays. Everybody. It's good to see Deshaun get a sack, DJ get a sack, Carlos get tackled for loss. Man, everybody contributed. And it was just great to be a part of, man. And we knew what we were capable of, and we got it done.
I had a great game. I watched Grady Jarrett closely. He was just pushing the USC centers and middle of that offensive line back on his bull rush and putting pressure on Thompson. Thompson was uncomfortable a good bit of the afternoon, even though he had decent numbers, had a lot of overthrows and rush passes, took 4 sacks, and was forced to run left and right, and had that critical fumble, too, that led to Clemson taking the lead and getting the Tigers off and running. All right, 800-956-7266. We go to Ronnie in North Augusta. Oh, he is alive and well. Well, he is alive. Don't know how well he is. Ronnie, how are you, my friend?
I wouldn't do this for just anybody. I'm working on a little secret government project down here at the bomb plant, and I'm not supposed to be using these telephone lines. I'm not supposed to be able to be reached, but I was due you were concerned and wanted to make sure I was okay. So I tell you what, well, there's no use in making excuses. They were so far superior to us Saturday. Hell, that's all you do. I've had to go through it before. I enjoyed my 5 years. They deserve to enjoy their year now, but I don't like people calling in so-called Carolina fans and wanting to question everything about the timeouts and all. Hell, what difference would it have made if we'd have run 5 or 6 more plays Saturday? It had just been 5 or 6 more unsuccessful plays. Our offense stunk the whole ball game. And that was the surprising part to me. I wasn't looking for the defense to do a lot. I mean, those defensive ends, like I said, they've been crashing down all year, and the guy just went right around them, and once he got around the end with his speed, he was off and running. It was over with. But I'm not going to criticize Dylan Thompson because he stuck around for 5 years and he's won some big ball game for us. But I will say, I just don't think with the size and the speed of defensive players today, I don't think if you don't have a mobile quarterback, I just don't think you have a prayer field. And we've got to find somebody. I'm not saying he's got to be able to run for 150 yards a game, but you got to have a quarterback that can move around a little bit. If not, he's just a sitting target back there as fast and big as these guys are on defense now.
Or you tear the pages out of your playbook that have 4 and 5 step drops. You just 1, 2, 3. Dan Marino did a lot of his career.
You almost have to have a mobile quarterback in today's college football.
Almost
somebody
everybody does.
Who can get you that yardage, 3rd and 7, 8, 10, even in the NFL. We saw yesterday with Green Bay and the Patriots, Aaron Rodgers taking advantage of backs turned down the field and going and picking up yardage. Thompson has done that a couple of times in his career, but by and large, South Carolina missed that in their offense. I think moving forward at quarterback, they are going to have a guy in there, whether it's Connor Mitch or whether it's Lorenzo Nunez. Whoever they get down the road is going to be a quarterback who can be a threat with the run as well as the pass. But I tip my hat to Dylan Thompson. He had a heck of a career at South Carolina, both as a fill-in and as a starter, with still one more game to go. Young man never gave in to the pressure, never became frustrated, and did all he could. He's limited in what he can do, but I think he did all he could do, and to pass for the kind of yards he did, over 3,000 yards, touchdown to interception ratio was good. But the one thing he wasn't really good at, and maybe it's because he lacked that foot speed, was driving the Gamecocks win behind to a touchdown or in position for a field goal to have a chance to win a ball game, I guess, except for the bowl game against Michigan a couple years ago.
And the Florida game.
Well, the Florida game was turned around by – he didn't have to drive the team,
well,
right?
He had to get him in the end zone at the end of regulation.
There was a block. Wasn't it a block punt that set that up?
Yeah, but he hit a pass.
Yeah, he had a pass and then scored the – he scored the game-winning touchdown.
I'm thinking about Missouri, where he had they lost the lead and he had to drive the team, and Tennessee, and they went 4 and out, didn't hit any passes. So anyway, thanks for your phone call, Ronnie. Glad to know you're doing well. Keep making those bombs. We need more and more of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's go quickly to Danny in Aiken. Hello. Steak Man just hung up on you by accident, Danny.
Speaking of bombs.
Call back. Let's go to where we going next. Mike in Sumter. Hi, Mike. Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. And let me say this. You guys hit it right on the nail on the head. The biggest thing about Dylan that frustrates people is the silly, stupid fumble and the turnovers. But Dylan missed a couple of guys Saturday's ball game. It could have changed the complexion of the game. He had Mike Davis streaking down the sideline on a little flare.
No, I think that was David Williams.
That
was David Williams. You're right.
But Brian Greasy said, God, if he had just lofted that up, that was a walk-in touchdown. He had Farrell Cooper wide open in the end zone down there after he had gotten that turnover. So, I mean, he just, he's just like some people who deer hunt and they see a big giant buck out there and they get that buck fever and they just miss. That's just the kind of guy he is.
All right, we got to hit a break here. We thank you very much. Be right back.
Clemson was better than us. They were better than us today. Played better and they coached better. And we got beat. Simple as that. They're a real good team. Their defense stymied us pretty well most of the day. And they ran for a bunch of yards here and there on us. So give those guys credit. They're better than us.
All right, Steve Spurrier, his comments after the loss on Saturday. We'll get back to your phone calls here coming up. Got to do the recruiting report here before the top of the hour. Brought to you by South Carolina's Electric Cooperatives. Hope you're going to be at the upcoming Touchstone Energy Bowl. That's coming up a week from Saturday in Myrtle Beach, December 13th, North versus the South. Look forward to being there for that, broadcasting it here on the network and having you there watching the outstanding players go at it. All right, first of all, Albert Huggins, defensive lineman from OW, took his official visit to Clemson over the weekend. We have not been able to reach him yet, however. We have a couple of conflicting reports here. Ryan Bartow from 24/7 said that Huggins is going to announce on December 12th at his school. However, Paul Strelo from Tiger Illustrated, who did talk to Huggins, said that Huggins set for making his announcement, but it would be within the next couple of weeks. Georgia, Clemson, the top two battling it out there. So can't tell you for sure yet when he's going to make his announcement. Defensive lineman DJ Jones, the junior college player, the USC's been recruiting, a Florida State commitment, took an official to Ole Miss over the weekend, said he had a great time there. USC offensive line commitment, Paris Palmer from Lackawanna, junior college in Pennsylvania, made an official visit to Penn State over the weekend. Oklahoma State offered defensive back Marcus Lewis out of Washington, D.C. He's a Clemson target. Defensive back Mook Reynolds of Greensboro, a Virginia Tech commitment since February, but Clemson offered him recently, and his interest in the Tigers has been piqued by that. He's been in touch with the recruiter and defensive back coach Mike Reed, says he's still committed to Virginia Tech, but he will take a visit to Clemson to see what the Tigers have to offer. And his season is ongoing as they are still in the playoffs. He said he will also take official visits to Virginia Tech and Tennessee. Defensive back Antoine Wilder, Lithonia, Georgia, USC commitment since June. He and his teammate, fellow Gamecock commitment defensive end Arden Key, had planned to visit for South Alabama, but they ended up staying home for an SAT prep class. Wilder has set official visits to Tennessee State January 16th and USC January 23rd. He also would like to set a date with Mississippi State and possibly two others. Louisville, which at one point appeared to be a threat, no longer is an option. He recently talked with USC recruiters Lorenzo Ward and Grady Brown. Meantime, linebacker Amonte Cabin, Smith Station, Alabama, had also considered visiting USC 2 weekends ago but didn't make it. He has not set any officials, but he plans to with USC, Georgia, and Louisville. Been a Cardinals commitment since September. That is still in place, but he's in touch with USC recruiter Kurt Botkin a couple of times a week. And on Friday night, right-handed pitcher Sawyer Bridges of Somerville, a junior, announced a commitment to USC for the 2016 class. He had been committed to Clemson before decommitting earlier in the fall. More of your calls coming up.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
All right back to your phone calls we go, 800-956-7266. Billy in Florence, good evening, and welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, guys, I hope you're doing well. Phil, I enjoy seeing you in the PD at Rivals. I stopped by with Ken Ard and the boys and Alan Smothers, and I enjoyed you seeing with Big George sitting there. And George never scored against Clemson, so you know where I'm going here. Phil, I got a couple comments here. And first thing I'm going to start with is the Tigers' greatest offense in Gamecock history. Where was it at? Because it got a dominated on both sides of the ball. And the bad thing is Deshaun Watson played at 50%. We all know that. Emmitt Smith made himself look like an idiot because the last time I checked, he didn't get a medical degree from Florida, even though his brother Emory did, pad up in a Tiger uniform and played fullback for us. So that's the only way I want to elaborate on Emmitt Smith, but he just did make himself look like an idiot. After Dr. Bowman and Dr. Poole would combine 50 years of MD experience, made a decision on Deshaun Watson.
Is he not entitled to his opinion, though? Is he not entitled to an opinion on that? And you realize there are other people that do have, MDs that disagree with that statement as well. Are they idiots?
K-Mac, I'll say this. He made himself look like an idiot because last I checked, he didn't have a medical degree, and everybody does have an opinion. But here's the thing. He chimed in on something he had no absolute idea on, like all of us are doing. Dabo would not put Deshaun Watson to somebody in harm's way.
I agree with that.
He would not do it because Deshaun Watson, do you agree that he's a national championship next level quarterback?
Yes.
Just going to take the Tigers. And by the way, I'm going to jump on it because y'all go to, and I know that's y'all's job because that's what pays you bills with commercial breaks. But something to be concerned with South Carolina, I would not be concerned about Watson. Watson's going to be fine. I'd be concerned about a 70-year-old coach not knowing who his quarterback is next year, with defensive linemen that can't get off the ball and getting abused by Tiger freshmen. Yeah, Wayne Gallman, redshirt freshman. Tavis Scott, true freshman. Deshaun Watson, 50% true freshman. Now Dabo Swinney's bringing another, I must say, maybe somewhere in the top 10 class. It's only getting better. At the talent level, Corn Blue, you've got to admit, I thought Clemson was the better team last year. I thought Taj Boyd gave that game away because of his erratic play and a lot of turnover on the punt return with Adam Humphries and Martavis Bryant. But the talent level's closed.
Well, thank you. And I guess Gamecocks might as well just go ahead and mail it in for next November and put an L. Do they have a countdown clock at USC?
Just stop it. Yeah, just count down to destruction.
I mean,
that is why.
But he makes good points. I can't argue with his points.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. This is a lot better coming in here, looking at you guys as state champs once again than the previous years, that's for sure. We're really proud of our football team. South Carolina, first of all, South Carolina, give them credit. They're a good team. They really have they've had a heck of a run against us. And, today was just our day.
Dabo Swinney following the win on Saturday. In basketball, Rutgers is leading Clemson 12-18 to play in the first half. It is 16-15 as Scarlet Knights over the Tigers. Grantham leading Clemson with 8 points at this point. 800-956-7266 is the phone number here on Sports Talk. And don't forget that the South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff sponsor a lot of the comments you hear here on Sports Talk from the coaches and the players. You can learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. Let's get back to your phone calls. And we go next to Neil in Clover. Neil, welcome into Sports Talk. How you doing?
Fellas, I enjoy your show. I was just wanting to ask a question and make a comment. The question, what y'all think about the call for when Anthony got thrown out the game about the hit on Thompson, the quarterback? And I thought I could understand the 15-yard penalty, but throwing him out of the game, I did not understand that. The other thing is I thought that the best two players on the field were Scott for Clemson and Pharaoh Cooper for the ball. South Carolina did, and I'm going to hang up and listen to y'all.
All right, thank you. I don't think that it was a targeting foul on Anthony. I don't think he should have been called for targeting. Certainly didn't appear.
Did you watch it again? Did you go home and watch it?
I haven't watched the game
because
again.
in
watching
the press
replay
box,
at the press box, it didn't appear to be a legitimate call.
Yeah, but I agree. But there were people that were watching it at home that said, no, it was pretty clear. And Pro maybe used that he hit him with, to me, it was a definite late hit, 15 yards, but they are, it just didn't look like a play that a guy should be ejected. If Stephon Anthony was trying to hurt Dylan Thompson there, I don't think Dylan Thompson would have played another snap. I mean, Anthony's running with a full head of steam. It was a silly penalty. Shouldn't have done it, but they kick out guys, for that very reason. That's where we are now. And that means he's not going to play in the first half of the bowl game. That punishment does not fit the crime.
Cooper touched the ball twice as a runner, twice as a passer, and twice as a receiver. So not near enough touches for him in the Gamecock offense to make him as effective as he could be. And he had one touch as a return man in the punt game. So
we don't
not
know.
Nearly enough.
There was no discussion of him being limited because
he said in the fourth quarter. He said in the fourth quarter, with about 8 minutes to go, it popped out of place, and then he said he was pretty much done. I think the pain was too much for him.
On Stephon,
and they chose not to put him back in.
On Stephon Anthony's hit. I'll explain it this way, because this is why I don't like that kind of call of ejecting players. It's not his fault that Dylan Thompson is 6'3". I mean, his head is sitting there. I mean, there's nothing he can do. What is he going to do? Go for the knees again? Maybe he can take out his ACL. I mean, he hit him the only way he could, and they're similar stature. So the heads are going to sometimes meet when you're hitting a guy high.
If he was trying to get him,
right?
He wasn't.
And he was hitting to shove. He wasn't hitting to just spear the guy. So I thought it was a bad call.
And I'll tell you, Dan Radakovich just kind of bumped into him shortly after that happened. And he said, by the letter of the rule, that's the way they have to call it. He said that rule needs to change. That needs to be addressed, that particular
Well, they
rule.
continue to work on that rule.
Yeah.
They continue to try to refine it year by year, and they'll probably come out with a new version before next season. All right, thank you for the call. 800-956-7266. Juicy in Coward over near Florence. Yeah. Is that right, Juicy? The Coward near Florence?
Yes, sir. Right down 52.
Yeah.
I got about three things I want to say. First, I want to ask, when is kickoff not called when the defensive team recovers it, not called for the defensive team.
Oh,
And
onside kick.
Yeah, got to give the guy a chance to fair catch it there.
well, he didn't put his hands up. He
Yes,
didn't
he
put his
did.
hands up.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he
It
did.
happened right in front of me. It happened right in front of me.
Okay.
He reached up with both hands to catch the ball.
He called for a fair
Is that
catch.
a fair catch?
Also, sir, the ball in an onside kick, the ball must hit the ground. It can't be recovered in the
You
air.
have to give the guy a chance to catch the ball. They did that so guys don't get blown up anymore. That is the rule. You have to. It's not calling a fair catch like a punt. You have to get. Let me explain it to you so you're not confused anymore. You have to let the guy catch the ball before you hit him. You can't just blow up the guy anymore. It's a rule.
Juicy. The difference is, listen. The difference is, the ball never hit the ground, and even if it goes more than 10 yards, hang on. Even if it goes more than 10 yards, if it's in the air and it never hit the ground, you have to give the guy room to catch the ball. And the ball never hit the ground. No, he doesn't. No. You have to give him room. You have to give him room.
Okay. All right.
He
All right.
had room. He had room.
Okay.
All
Go ahead. What's your next point?
right. Y'all have said the whole year that the SEC was the best conference in the nation.
When did we say that?
Oh year. What do you talk? The SEC, and this Saturday night, Florida State played Florida. Georgia played Georgia Tech. Clemson played South Carolina, and Louisville played Kentucky. I didn't see their score yesterday morning in no paper. They said any Southeastern team won.
That's correct. ACC dominated 4-0 against.
Do you know the last?
SEC
Do
East.
you know one a little history though? You know the last time that happened? Do you know?
Doesn't really matter. Not to him.
Yeah. I mean, I know you don't like facts. Do you know that you? Do you?
You said facts. I'm gonna give you a little fact. Y'all have bragged for South Carolina for the whole year because they won 5 in a row.
Do you know we all three picked Clemson? You want another fact? All three of us picked Clemson to win the game. All three of us were right. You can thank us later.
Okay. I'll let you on that, but you said facts. How about let's go back when Clemson won 7 in a row.
They did at one time.
Yeah, what in the 40s? Sorry, we don't talk a lot about 1940s football on the show. We'll probably do that more.
Well, let's talk about the whole series. And then yesterday morning, if you look in the state, the state would have said that South Carolina won. The state newspaper.
Yeah, when I saw that big front page with Clemson celebrating, it said bragging rights. I said, man, did South Carolina win? I mean, that big front page right above the fold that said bragging rights and had Clemson celebrating in Death Valley. And I took away from that, man, they must think South Carolina won the game. Boy, you are on fire tonight.
Wait a minute. What was in the paper? That was about the only thing that was in the paper.
It was on the front page. Maybe you missed it.
They gave
A1.
They gave Clemson. They gave Clemson their due throughout their coverage. It was all about Clemson winning.
They haven't given their due the whole year. Every paper, every Sunday paper, the whole year is South Carolina's on the front and Clemson's on the back.
Well, that's how they. That's how their coverage is. You go up to Greenville, look at the Greenville News, and it's reversed.
Well, Clemson, the Greenville News say the state, or did it say the Greenville News? The Greenville News covers Greenville. The state says
but the state newspaper covers Columbia. It's a Columbia newspaper. Okay, it's in Columbia, South Carolina. It's called the State. It's South Carolina. There's another piece of geography fact for you.
No, it's a South Carolina paper, and I'll tell you
it was a South Carolina paper going back 10, 15 years.
It ain't not.
But it's not. It's no longer. Because of their economic times.
Please call us back anytime.
Juicy.
Juicy.
The state is, even though by name it's the state, they focus on Columbia. Now, just like Greenville News focuses on Greenville, the Post and Courier focuses on Charleston. And if you notice, they all share the same writers. You'll see Greenville News writers in the state. You'll see Charleston Post and Courier writers in the state.
The state has Go Gamecocks as one of their paywalls now. So they're definitely going to be Gamecock heavy on their coverage.
It's not the same, but I hear what you're saying. But they gave Clemson their due, just like we are. Back in a moment.
those guys, those players have worked as hard as they have. And, oh my gosh, I can't say enough about that senior class and all of our players, but particularly that class that was leading the way. You know, talk about a first-class group of guys, best group of guys I've been around, day in and day out, the work that they've put in, don't question anything, compliance without complaint. They're first-class, great character, toughness. Gave up some leaky yardage here today. We might not still be statistically speaking the best defense in the country, but that's the best defense in the country right there.
Yeah, statistically, they are still number one in the country by just a little bit, and they proved it against the Gamecocks on Saturday. All right, we'll get back to calls in a moment. Let's take time out here for our high school football report for tonight as we head down the home stretch of the season with championship games coming up in 4A, 3A, and at some point, one more 1A game. Our high school football report brought to you by South Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. This afternoon, we had interviews for the 4A and 3A teams, and Jerome Singleton, executive director of the high school league, was there. I asked him if they had a resolution to the Bamberg-Earhart situation, and he said no. He really hadn't put a whole lot of thought into it yet. He was waiting to get this press conference over with and get more information before rendering a decision there. We welcome in David Shelton from the High School Sports Report. Have you heard anything more since this afternoon and into this evening? Have you made any progress toward resolving that situation?
No, I don't think today was a day that was going to be a day of decision, so to speak. They're still investigating the move and the address and all the other stuff that goes with it. I don't think it's going to get done before Wednesday or Thursday, if then, and then they won't play the game this week. You know, we were surmising today that maybe next Friday before the North-South game in Columbia they would play that, and which affects some kids in the North-South game, you know,
sure.
The Shrine Bowl and all that kind of stuff. But those kids made it and played the day before the Shrine Bowl, I meant. But no, the North-South is first.
North-South, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's kind of a weird situation. And as I told somebody today, it's kind of an embarrassing situation that this seems to come up every year. I know it's only been a couple times in the last few years, but you get to this point in the playoffs. I mean, you're talking about the week of a championship game, somebody questioning eligibility about a player that people knew moved back in August. It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you, but hopefully they'll get it figured out.
Well, here's the other thing too, David. You've got Allendale Fairfax practicing, not knowing if they're going to be playing. Same thing with Bamberg-Earhart, and Christ Church is practicing, not knowing who the opponent's going to be. None of this is right. None of this is right for the teams involved.
Yeah, and it really hurts Christ Church because, you know, Allendale and Bamberg, they know who they're going to play.
Yeah.
So they can prepare for Christ Church.
Mm-hmm.
Christ Church has no way of knowing who they're going to play, so they're kind of preparing for two teams. You know, Christ Church is really good, and, you know, they're probably going to be favored no matter who they play. But, you know, put yourself in the coach's staff's position. You know, who do we prepare for? So that's why you're going to see another week. You know, if they settled it tomorrow, I don't know that that's fair to say, all right, you're going to play on Friday. You got 3 days to prepare.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a mess. I don't know why they can't put a rule in that if you have information and you're going to file a protest over somebody, you better get it in before the brackets are in place, because once the brackets are in place, they are locked and you're going to have to live with it. Thank you, David. High School Football Report here on Sports Talk, brought to you by South Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. All right, we're back on Sports Talk. Just wondering, did anybody else hit a deer on the way home from Clemson Saturday night besides me?
You hit a deer?
You hope it's a deer.
You hit
I
Bambi?
think it was a deer.
If there's any unsolved hit
You
and
hit
runs,
Bambi?
I hit something. I'm pretty sure it was a deer. Yeah, heading out of Clemson on Highway 88 where it crosses 278, a little intersection there. After I waited for traffic to clear, I did my crossover and was getting back up to speed. It was pitch dark, of course. All you had was your headlights. And all of a sudden, I hit something. And then I looked out of the corner of my eye to the right. I think I saw some legs flying by. So
they weren't
it
wearing
wasn't a
Nike
rabbit.
Air Jordans, were they?
I don't think it was a rabbit.
Probably a rabbit or I know people call it. It's correct to say opossum, but we down in the country call it possum.
Well, no, this was bigger because it did $2,600 damage to my car, according to the appraisal today. So, anyway, I hope everybody else made it. But the thing is, it didn't affect the engine or the tires or anything like that. I was able to keep on going. I never hit my brakes. I hit it and kept on going because I was stunned. I had cars behind me. I didn't want to start a chain reaction. And I was waiting for my airbags to go off. I was fearful of that. They never did. My restraints, my seatbelts pulled so tight because that system went off and just jerked me back.
So you got consulted with a mechanic, just like an ACL. You can't do any more damage.
That's right. I couldn't do any more damage. I drove that sucker home. So that gives me 2 kills in my life. I've nailed 2 bucks. I guess it was a buck. What's
probably a doe? Bucks are usually a little bit smarter than that.
Could have been a bet. I don't know what it was, but I've got 2 of them now to my credit. One in 1974 on Highway 378, and now one in 2014.
You see them too when you're going down.
How many years is that?
Road.
Is that 74 to 2014 would be 40 on the dot.
40 on the
40
dot.
years apart. I bagged my second deer.
So in 2054, watch out because another deer is coming.
All right, back to your calls in a moment. Here is a little bit from Deshaun Watson, the man of the hour, after the Clemson win on Saturday, talking about his performance, wanting to win for the seniors, and give them a kind of a going-away present, and also, of course, dealing with playing on a painful knee, though he never said during the interview that he had a torn ACL, but he was willing to give everything he had to try to get that win.
I don't regret any of those injuries. It made me realize and appreciate the game even more. And, it feels like, end the streak and, win, be the state champions. And, it's something that everyone around the program do for 5 years. So, we changed it this time and, you just got to keep it going.
Have you kind of wrapped your head around or tried to wrap your head around just the enormity of, this win for this program and for the rest of the players on this team?
Not yet. I probably, tonight I will. And once I see, leave the stadium, see all the fans celebrating and you're just seeing everyone talk about it and just seeing, going around school and campus and, seeing all the students happy and enjoying this victory. Right now I'm just celebrating with my team and, just taking it, 1 minute at a time.
What was the level for you, do you think? 50, 80%?
I'm not even sure. I just, I know I was going to feel some pain. I just go out there and help my teammates.
And what was the hardest thing for you to do? What was
nothing at all. I was just going to go out there, whatever Coach Morris wanted to call, and execute the play. Coach Sweeney told me beforehand if I can't run offense, then I'll go out there. So, that's why I practice all week and try to go out there and see what I can do.
How would you describe at the end of the first half? Was it knee brace or just feeling some pain?
No, I just came down wrong and my leg twisted and I just had to come out. It was probably a little loose, so I just came out for it.
And later on, pretty much the same kind of thing? You probably heard the stuff about Coach Morris and perhaps going to SMU. You had any conversations with anybody about that or any thoughts on it?
Not at all. That's something that we want to focus on South Carolina, and I have no information on that.
Would it be very disappointing if you
honestly, I couldn't say that right now. I just, take it one day at a time and see how things go.
All right, Deshaun Watson, some of his comments after the victory over the Gamecocks. Basketball, Clemson has taken a 32-31 lead on Rutgers. This is the ACC Big Ten Challenge. And it is a Blossingame leading the Tigers with 8 points thus far, 3 rebounds. Let's see, where is Grantham? Grantham's got 8 points as well. Tigers are shooting 46% from the floor, 5 of 6 from the line. They've hit 6 3-pointers thus far. So they're right in there with Rutgers, South Carolina, and Marshall just getting underway up in Huntington. Let's get back to your phone calls, 800-952-66. Delvin and Fountain Inn. How are you, sir? And welcome into Sports Talk.
How you guys doing this evening?
Man, we're doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great myself. Let's talk about the offensive coordinator position now that Chad Morris leaves. What do you think about the rumors that already came out already that Bobby Bentley resigned his position at Auburn, and Clemson contacted him, and they're going to promote Jeff Scott, and he's going to be, and Bobby Bentley was going to be the quarterback coach, and Jeff Scott will be the offensive coordinator. That he had to come out with a statement saying that he didn't resign. I mean, they started with the rumors already, hadn't they, for you?
Oh yeah, there's all kind of stuff out there. I don't care to be out repeating them unsubstantiated rumors, but they're all out there about a whole variety of things. You know, you got Jeff Scott here, or Jeff Scott going to SMU. You've got other Clemson coaches going with Morris out to SMU. You got Bentley coming to Clemson. You got Lashley coming to Clemson. You got
Brandon Street coming
in. No, come on. The internet can create any kind of rumor that it wants, and it doesn't matter if there's any fact to it or not. And what I'm trying to do here on the show, I know this time of year there's all this kind of scuttlebutt taking place, and hopefully we'll just talk about things that are real and are really happening. And you know, who knows what is happening behind closed doors? Who knows what kind of conversations are taking place? Coaches will lie. There was a lot of lying going on up at Clemson Saturday. They lied about Deshaun Watson's knee situation. They lied about, and I'm
Lie's a strong word.
Well, I mean, it's true. They lied, misled, however you want to cut it. And I'm not saying that, believe it or not, in a negative way. I'm saying that is how they protect themselves when it comes to these sensitive situations. Clemson had to cover up the fact that they were preparing Deshaun Watson to play with a torn ACL. They were not going to let that news out. They didn't let the news out till after the game. So what'd they do? When asked about it, Dabo would say, you know what he said last week. He's getting better.
He's getting better
every day.
Things we want him to do,
yeah,
he'll play.
Now, if somebody had said to him, Dabo, does Deshaun have a torn ACL? Now, nobody knew to ask him, but they were not going to be forthcoming with the information. So maybe he didn't lie directly. He just misled. I think mislead is maybe
which is what coaches do all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
And especially in
hockey. When it
hockey.
comes to hiring coaches and coaches going somewhere else, I mean, Chad Morris lied, misled, whatever. Nobody's going to hold it against him, but he does what coaches do in situations where they're getting ready to leave.
I'm not talking about
and they're not. He didn't say that. I think he didn't. I think he said, well, leading up to it, I think he denied having talked to SMU or having had any major discussions with them, whatever. But obviously the deal was done, as it had been reported earlier in the week out of Texas. The deal had to be done because he's gone the next day after the game. Boom, he's already gone.
Well,
so
his agent talked to him. He didn't have to talk to him. It gives him plausible liability.
So you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's
deniability.
It's cover up and mislead and not directly answer
subterfuge, but
questions.
not for malicious reasons. Though,
No, no. I don't think for malicious reasons. I think it's more for that's the way they have to handle these sensitive issues. So as far as what could happen out there with some of the other coaches coming, going, your guess is as good as mine. You know, is Muschamp going to come to South Carolina? The fact that Spurrier is saying 2 to 3 years and he wants to come back and coach sort of sets the table and kind of gives you a scenario that Muschamp wants to hear, that Spurrier is going to be there 2 or 3 more years to give him a chance to establish himself, build the defense, and then maybe be in a position to replace Spurrier as South Carolina's head coach. That might be a good scenario for South Carolina if they can make it happen.
He's had a good year, 12th. But he was blocked. The punt is blocked. Minnesota picks it up, and they will score a touchdown.
So you're so vulnerable, they're going to do the same stunt again.
And the punt's blocked again. It's blocked again. Picked up by Griffin, and he's going right to the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. It's another touchdown off a block punt by the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
Well, when it goes bad, it just goes bad. We welcome in the voice of the Panthers, Mick Mixon, for his visit with us tonight. And what can you say? Pretty much the nail in the coffin, I would say, for this season.
The indignity of it all, too, Corn. I mean, football is a game of adjustments and fixing things on the fly, so they get through up the middle. You know, you give them credit. Maybe they saw something, but then you tighten that up and make sure you go over the fax machine, the schematics. Everybody's got their little laptops on the sideline now, and everybody knows what to do and where to go. And then it happens again on the very next punt.
Who are people mad at today?
Oh, everybody. No, food doesn't taste good. Perfume doesn't smell good. Car's not running good. Nothing looks good. Nothing feels very good around here. I think that let's just look at it, take it a couple menu items at a time. Cam Newton, 8th straight game with at least one interception in the game, but he did some things running the ball, rushed for almost 50 yards. Starting to take a little bit of the underneath stuff, Phil, that I think Panther fans have been frustrated. Why isn't he taking, Olsen on the check down, the backs after the backfield in pass pro blitz pickup, making themselves into targets? Newton started to do some of that. Remmers played okay at right tackle. Ben Wickery gave a little bit of a thump in the back end. There were some good things done. The Panthers want to be a ball control offense. We control the ball. We just have a problem with scoreboard control.
That's the one you got to control most.
I know, man. Panthers won time of possession by 11 minutes. Vikings only gained 200 yards. Teddy Bridgewater was all right, but when you give up two special teams tuggies like that, and have the critical Josh Norman penalty after the Panthers had the key part of the game, and you got Norman engendering ill will by running his mouth and 15 yards. Vikings score on that drive. It was a long plane ride home.
Yeah, I was listening to your call, and you and well, especially Eugene, very, very upset with Josh Norman for getting that penalty at that time.
Well, that was a teaching point for Josh Norman. Thomas Davis, I thought Thomas Davis was gonna kill somebody. He was so upset on the field because he's fighting hard. Phil, we're just finding it's not just one thing. This would be easy if it was just one thing, just the O-line or just the Hardy injury or just Cam Newton's mechanics. But it is a constellation of symptoms that are plaguing the Panthers right now.
Well, in the spirit of full disclosure and to add a little levity to this situation, I don't know if they had an open press box, but how many pair of pants were you wearing yesterday?
4 pairs of pants, 7 shirts, 2 pairs of socks, 2 hats, 2 pairs of gloves. One of my pairs of socks was battery powered, plus I was sitting on a heating pad.
How cold was it? What was the wind chill?
10 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind chill was around 0 degrees. In the second quarter, I tried to take a sip out of my bottle of water, and a big chunk of ice almost chipped my tooth.
All right, now back to serious stuff. Where do the Panthers go from here? What do they try to do, after coming off a playoff year? Now it looks like the kind of year where you try to build some momentum towards 2015.
I got home last night. I took off all my clothes and weighed them, and I had 19 pounds of clothes on. But anyway, to your question, Phil, the problems are bigger than just this year. I think the Panthers got to figure out kind of what kind of offensive football team do we want to be moving forward, and is Cam Newton the right guy to run that offense? I mean, I think you would say yes, but the Panthers will swing their sword as hard as we can. 4 games remain. Try to get on a 1-game winning streak. And, mathematically, the Panthers are still not eliminated from the postseason yet.
Sure. All right, you got your show coming up. Who's on with you tonight?
We got Colin Jones, who plays safety, Texas native, and, of course, Coach Rivera as well, and we're looking forward to it.
Have yourself a good one, and we'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate you guys, and thanks for the coverage you give us.
You got it, my man. Voice of the Panthers, Mick Mixon, got his call-in show in the Carolinas coming up after us. Let me update basketball. South Carolina out to a 13-3 lead at Marshall. Dwayne Notice has 7 points to lead the Gamecocks thus far. Gamecocks are shooting 71% from the floor, 2 for 2 from the line, holding Marshall to 25% shooting thus far.
Now, I was about to say, one of the problems the Panthers have is simple throughout the NFC South, and all the teams in the South, NFC South, have rebuilt offensive lines. They're terrible. Every one of the offenses, including the Saints.
I would agree. The entire division stinks.
Mm-hmm.
But how about those Packers? Anybody watch the Packers and the Patriots yesterday?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Great performance. We're scary good. I'm scared that we're too good
too early.
soon. Yeah.
Are you excited? It's a great day to be a pony, let me tell you. A great day to be a Mustang. Excited to be here. I can't.
Don't forget, the Touchstone Energy Bowl is right around the corner. Hope to see you in Myrtle Beach December 13th. Some of the best high school players in the state will be getting together for the annual North-South game, the Touchstone Energy Bowl at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach. That kickoff will be at 12 for football, South Carolina, at halftime of that game. All right, Chad Morris is no more at Clemson. He's the head coach at SMU. Here is what it sounded like as he introduced himself to the faithful in Dallas.
Are you excited? It's a great day to be a pony, let me tell you. A great day to be a Mustang. Excited to be here. I can't share enough the excitement level. I have to apologize for my voice. Had a pretty big ball game last Saturday night and got a great win and what a great opportunity to land in Dallas last night and got to eat a Whataburger right off the plane. So, man, life doesn't get much better than that, let me tell you. So we're extremely excited, and there's several people that I want to definitely thank and recognize before we get going. But I want to definitely thank Dr. Turner and the process that they went through to get to this point to where we are today. Rick Hart and Matt Roberts and you guys and the entire search committee that put forth the tireless hours of time spent away from their families to make sure this was the right hire. And I assure you that it is the right hire without a doubt. And but it's I can promise you this, it's far more than just Chad Morris. It involves a lot of families involved. And I want to introduce my family. If y'all would stand up, Paula Morris, my daughter Mackenzie, my son Chandler. They truly make it happen. They allow me to do something that I so dearly love, and that's to be around and make a difference in people's lives and win football games. And that's what we're about. And my mom and dad are here, JB and Arlene Morris. I appreciate y'all, the leadership that y'all have provided us. My college roommate that's been with me from the get-go, Chris Mattingly, we went to high school with him. So excited to be back here. And Coach Brown, it was an honor to meet you, and appreciate you taking time out of your day and during your season to be here. It's really special, and I know, as we all do, appreciate the success you've had, and we're going to build off of your success, and we appreciate you, and thank you for coming. It means a lot.
All right, some of what Chad Morris had to say. Update from Marshall, USC up 19-7. Update from Little John, 33-33 at the break. Grantham and Blossom game, 8 points each. All right, that'll do it for us tonight. Final thoughts, K-Mac Pro?
How many people are going to watch the Monday Night Football game tonight? By show
Very
of hands?
few,
No.
I would think.
I'm watching the coaching carousels as it continues to crank up.
I'm watching the second edition of Homeland from year one as I start the climb up the various shows to catch up to the current one. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.